One line of SQL can grab 3 rows out of a million. Those 3 words are a select, from, and where, and together they run almost every data question on earth. Picture a spreadsheet a million rows tall where you need just 3 of them. By the end of this, you'll walk up to that mountain and calmly ask for the exact slice you need. Before the fancy words, let's name the furniture. A table is just a spreadsheet. Every row is one thing, like one customer, and every column is one detail about it, like their city. When people say relational database, all they really mean is a bunch of these neat tables sitting side by side. In short, a table is rows of records with labeled columns. Here's our tiny world for the whole lesson. 4 users, each with a name, a city, and an age. It's deliberately small, so you can check the answers in your head. When we run a query, just imagine yourself scanning down these 4 rows with your finger. Select is you pointing at the columns you care about, like telling a waiter just the 2 dishes you want, not the whole menu. Here we ask for name and age, so the city column simply won't show up. If you're greedy and want everything, you write select star. In short, select decides which columns come back. If select is ordering dishes, from is naming the restaurant you're ordering from. It just points at which table to pull the data out of. Select says what to grab, from says where to grab it, so you almost never write one without the other. Read it as one phrase, select name from users, and notice the query is basically an English sentence. Where is the bouncer at the door? It checks every single row and asks one yes or no question, and only the rows that answer yes get through. Here the question is your city Delhi? So Anna and Kara walk in, Ben and Dev stay out. In short, where keeps only the rows that pass its test. Let me show the bouncer working row by row for city equals Delhi. Anna, yes. Ben, no. Kara, yes. Dev, no. That's genuinely all a filter does, one row at a time, and the survivors become your result. Here's the trick that makes everything click. You write select first, but the database doesn't run it first. It grabs the table with from, then throws out rows with where, and only at the very end keeps the columns from select. So the shape is rows in, rows filtered, columns chosen. Clean. The where test isn't limited to equals. You can ask age greater than 20 or glue 2 questions together with a, and so both must be true. Here we want Delhi people over 20, which lands on Anna and Kara. One small rule to tattoo on your brain, text values go in single quotes, numbers don't. 2 beginner traps live right here. Quoting a number like age can quietly cause weird comparisons, and forgetting quotes around Delhi makes SQL think Delhi is a column name and throw an error. Honest confession, early on I spent 20 minutes staring at a query that failed just because I typed a city without quotes. In short, quote text, leave numbers bare. Now my one honest opinion, select star is overrated. It's fine while you're poking around, but in real code it drags back columns nobody asked for and makes your query slower and harder to read 6 months later. Naming your columns is a tiny bit more typing that saves real pain. You might wonder why anyone uses star, and the answer is pure laziness in the moment. You could skip where, pull all million rows into your program and filter them with a loop. Plus side, it feels familiar if you know a programming language. Big minus, you just shipped a million rows across the network to keep 3. The database is built to filter close to the data, so let where do the heavy lifting. In short, filter where the data lives, not after you drag it out. So there's the whole toolkit. Select names the columns, from names the table, where picks the rows, and it runs from, then where, then select. Read this query out loud and it's just plain English. Give me name and age from users, where city is Delhi. Practice on any small table you have and it'll feel automatic fast. If this made sense, that's what the like button is for. Subscribe if you want more.